This is CTV News with Nafisa Karim.
Inconceivable and inexcusable that Veterans Affairs is treating a veteran of 28 years of service to Canada in this manner.
Tonight, transplant turmoil. A Vancouver Island veteran in need of a kidney transplant has his travel requests for an international donor denied by the federal government. Also ahead.
Every festival around the world is going to have to be aware of this.
Ribfest ripoff. A local charity loses thousands in donations after finding fraudulent beverage tokens from its fundraiser barbecue in Esquimalt. Plus, Adam finds out how a small athlete made a big impact on the world stage. Later on the Sawatsky sign-off. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We begin with an update to a story we've been following. A Canadian veteran's push to get the federal government to pay for costs that could help deliver life-saving treatment. The retired major has found his own potential kidney donor to treat a service-related disability. He wants Veterans Affairs to pay to get that donor to Canada when the time comes for transplant. CTV's Yvonne Raymond has the latest on that request.
A retired major's months-long wait to hear from Canada's minister responsible for Veterans Affairs ends with a formal rejection.
I think it is fundamentally inconceivable and inexcusable that Veterans Affairs is treating a veteran of 28 years of service to Canada in this manner, when I most need their service.
The Shawnigan Lake man wants the federal government to pay to bring a friend in Zimbabwe to Canada who's volunteering to donate his kidney when Bruce Sand's window for transplant opens up.
He said, "Are you sure about that?" And I said, "Yep, I'm sure about that." Bruce is somebody that I really admire.
Only the minister's letter says the department does not have authority to cover health-related travel for a third party. The funds are intended for the patient getting treatment.
The person who funds the King's purse is you and I, the taxpayer. Those taxpayer dollars are better spent in getting me a transplant than having me on dialysis for the rest of my life. Regardless of where the money is coming from, which pot it's coming from, it's still a taxpayer's dollar. And I don't think they've done that cost-benefit analysis.
The decorated veteran's Conservative MP is encouraging Sand's medical team to seek special authority through Veterans Affairs and for the minister to collaborate closely on every possible avenue. Sand says he also plans to petition for the rules to change.
I will not give up. I believe I owe it to those that I served with to continue with this fight until some sort of resolution is made.
Yvonne Raymond, CTV News, Shawnigan Lake.
Festivals across Canada will have to take notice after a unique scam targeted a Vancouver Island celebration. Ribfest in Esquimalt broke attendance records and raised thousands for charity over the weekend. But the event's account is several thousand short after organizers say someone got their hands on a 3D printer. CTV's Brendan Strain explains.
Stealing from a children's charity would probably be right down there as low as you can get.
The Esquimalt Ribfest has been going strong for the past 13 years.
Ribs and beer are pretty integral parts of Esquimalt's fabric.
This year, set attendance records.
Over the course of the weekend, we're 50,000 people.
That's reason to celebrate. Although this year, there was a hiccup in the beer gardens.
Like every festival, you sell tokens for drinks, right?
Plastic tokens like this one. Although as the event went on, one of the more than 300 volunteers made a discovery.
Nowadays, with 3D printing models and the plastic things you can make, somebody has taken one of those tokens and printed several hundred. We don't even know how many exactly yet.
All the money collected through charity is all for charity. It goes back into the community.
Event organizers believe the scam has cost the charity upwards of $2,000. And for the Esquimalt Fire Department, that hurts, as all its members clock countless hours helping to run the 3-day event.
For the firefighters here, this is their flagship event.
Donations at the door go towards various children's charities, which this year raised more than $90,000. Proceeds from the beer garden, where the scam took place, are being directed towards a new community project.
To put a turf field in an Esquimalt high school so there'd be all-weather playing surface for kids in Esquimalt year-round.
Vic PD says it's investigating the incident.
Every festival around the world is going to have to be aware of this.
It's a learning experience chance for the organizers who are planning to pivot next year.
There's a wristband system where you can actually give the person a wristband and load it and then tap.
It's not all bad news, as there are some heroes in this story. Now that the fraud has been exposed, donors have come forward, looking to help the event recover its losses.
It's one of those Sasquatch heat pumps. They said they would write a check to cover our losses, but there's been a whole bunch of individual citizens as well.
The Esquimalt Ribfest is offering a cash reward of $500 to help find whoever is responsible for making the 3D printed tokens. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Esquimalt.
Nanaimo RCMP are warning homeowners they are investigating several reports of a prowler seen on people's property and looking into windows. Since early August, Mounties say they've had multiple calls about the prowler throughout central and north Nanaimo. The unknown male has been seen late at night and during the day. Police add investigators are actively following up on leads, and they are treating these incidents as a priority. Officers are increasing their presence in the reported areas, but Mounties say make sure your doors, windows, and gates are locked, leave outdoor lights on at night, install motion sensor lighting or home security cameras where possible, and call 911 if you see a suspicious person or activity. As police officers reintroduce themselves to students in the Greater Victoria School District, Vic PD is offering some insight on what exactly they'll be doing. SD 61's Board of Education dropped the school police liaison officer program 2 years ago due to concerns their presence could be harmful, particularly for racialized students. Now the program is back. 2 officers will be delivering presentations on bullying, online safety, and drug awareness, while supporting conflict resolution initiatives and working with administrators to address safety concerns. Vic PD says the officers are trained in de-escalation, trauma-informed and culturally safe practices, and impartial policing. It's expected more officers will join the program next year. Health Minister Josie Osborne was in Courtenay today announcing a new set of supports for struggling students across BC. Osborne made the announcement this afternoon at Lake Trail Community School. It involves an expansion to a program called Preventure, where students develop skills to navigate common challenges like peer pressure, identity development, and interpersonal conflict. Challenges the province says can lead to drug and substance use as well as mental health issues. Lake Trail was one of the schools that piloted the program.
I think it's really going to be helpful to students. You know, a lot of people struggle, and it's a really great resource for the people to turn to.
They start out with a survey of all the kids in grade 8 and try to find out where they need support, what are their strengths and weaknesses in terms of mental health. And then they put the kids into different groups and support them.
The Ministry of Health is providing $2 million in annual funding for the program, which expanded into 80 schools throughout the province. The district of Tofino is furthering its commitment to the environment by taking aim at some popular plastic pollutants. The West Coast community has become the first municipality in Canada to adopt a bylaw that prohibits the sale of single-use plastic water bottles. The ban applies to all plastic water containers that are under 1 liter, and that'll officially take effect April 22nd of next year. Since 2019, the district has doubled down on its sustainability efforts with multiple bylaws affecting the sale of single-use plastics, starting with its ban on plastic bags, straws, and now single-use water bottles. A weekend of wicked music is on the South Island's horizon as festival goers are gearing up for another year of Rifflandia rock. The 15th edition of Rifflandia officially begins in about 20 minutes with Vancouver-based drag queen and musician Dunst Quain kicking things off in the festival's main stage. Now, sticking to the tune of previous years, the 2025 Rifflandia lineup is set to feature some massive names from around the world. Acts like Public Enemy, Alessia Cara, and Charlotte Cardin serve as some big draws for an action-packed weekend of music, dancing, and giving back to the South Island community.
Community giving program this year is still absolutely in effect. 15% of all of our ticket revenue is going to local community organizations, and we're hearing from a lot of them this is very meaningful. This is a tough year for a lot of organizations, and we're hoping to just make it a little better.
And if a good laugh is more your speed, you can catch Rifflandia's stand-up comedy features at its Laughlandia events throughout the weekend. Last-minute ticket sales and any additional festival information can be found online at rifflandia.com. Still to come, the Prime Minister making moves on major Canadian infrastructure, including a pair of projects right here in BC. Plus,
investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis.
A major manhunt south of the border as officials continue their search for Charlie Kirk's killer. 16 degrees, very pleasant outside. Josh will be back after the break with the full forecast.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises, customizing dream vacations with unbelievable value. Call or learn more at expediacruises.ca.
Hey, West Shore youth, looking for a fun spot to hang out? Youth nights are here. Skating, art, swims, and a place to chill. Staff-led and supervised for a safe, inclusive vibe. Check out wspr.ca for more info.
Josh joins us now with the forecast. Josh, it is a comfortable September so far.
Yeah, fairly pleasant, near average temperatures for the next couple of days. There is some rain that's starting to make its way into the forecast, though, for portions of the island as we head through the weekend, and it'll start as early as tomorrow. Portions of the west coast and especially up in the north, you'll get some showers or some periods of light rain through the day Friday. Looks dry in Victoria for at least 1 or 2 more days. We'll talk about that in a moment. Light showers, 18 degrees in the north tomorrow. Some late day rain on Saturday. I think you get a break from the rain Saturday morning and then it comes back. And that actually could be some heavier, steadier rain late in the day on Saturday. Highs will drop to around 16 and 17 into Sunday, Monday of next week. Mid-20s again tomorrow for inland areas under partly cloudy skies. Back to the low 20s on Saturday and then a chance of some showers or periods of rain on Sunday. That'll be the coolest day of the next 5, about 17 or 18 degrees, depending on how steady that precipitation is. Out of the west coast, mostly cloudy, high of 18. Could be some patchy pockets of drizzle, but I think most of the west coast, especially around Tofino, should be just mostly cloudy for tomorrow. Best chance for rain is going to come late Saturday into Sunday morning, especially overnight Saturday into early Sunday, and temperatures will drop into the mid-teens, it looks like, for Sunday and Tuesday of next week. Comox up to 21 tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud. Some increase in cloud on Saturday, chance of evening showers Saturday, and some showers in the forecast for Sunday as well, especially early in the day. High of about 20 on Saturday and then cooling to around 17 or 18, again, depending on how consistent that precipitation is on Sunday. In Nanaimo, you've got a high of 21 for tomorrow, 20 on Saturday, so both those days right around average. A little bit cooler again with that chance of showers on Sunday. It's about a 40% chance of some scattered showers. Doesn't look like really heavy rain, and about 17 or 18 for a daytime high on Sunday. In Victoria, 13 degrees tomorrow morning, up to a high of 20 tomorrow afternoon under a mix of sun and cloud. Bit of a breeze, wind to be out of the west around 20 kilometers per hour, stronger over the water. 20 and partly cloudy on Saturday, and then we'll call it a 30% chance of scattered showers on Sunday. Really doesn't look like anything all that heavy. About 18 or 19 for a high with that chance of shower Sunday, and pretty close to average, somewhere around 19 or 20 with partly cloudy skies Monday, Tuesday of next week. CTV weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations.
Thanks, Josh. It's an announcement Premier David Eby and other Canadian leaders have been waiting to hear. Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the first 5 major projects his government will fast-track. Energy and mining in the west while expanding ports in the east. CTV's Abigail Beeman has the details.
Mark Carney tried to drive home his message.
It's a single point of contact to get nation-building projects built faster.
Announcing the first 5 projects and more in development, led by a former energy executive at the newly opened Major Projects Office.
To get to one project, one review, one decision in a 2-year time frame, we'll set Canada apart globally.
The Prime Minister acknowledged several are already further along, like LNG and Kitimat. He says in all cases, engagement with Indigenous groups is very advanced, and within 5 years...
Yes. Some of those projects, shovels will be in the ground.
But the opposition leader points out no shovels yet.
He's not permitted a single major mine, pipeline, nuclear plant, or anything else. What he's done today is announce that he's going to send an email to an office that isn't even fully staffed up yet, which will one day consider possibly approving 5 projects. This is pathetic.
As for money in a new spend less, invest more environment, the Prime Minister says being more efficient doesn't cost much. It's not clear how much Ottawa will spend otherwise.
We expect with the vast majority of these projects that federal dollars will catalyze many multiples of private dollars.
CTV News asked the Prime Minister what success looks like. He said in part it's about changing attitudes so people believe Canada can build big. The next list of projects, he says, will be out by the Grey Cup. That's November. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Edmonton.
Now to the major manhunt underway in the United States as police try to find the person who killed Charlie Kirk, a high-profile right-wing activist and key supporter of Donald Trump. Kirk was shot while giving a speech in Utah yesterday. Our Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbon has the very latest as the FBI has released a photo of a person of interest.
Oh my God. Go, run, run.
Charlie Kirk was taking questions on a Utah college campus about mass shootings when police say a single shot was fired. Authorities say the right-wing commentator and fierce ally of Donald Trump was targeted. The powerful leader of a conservative youth movement shot and killed in full view. The FBI releasing this photo, a person of interest, they say, who appears to be of college age and seemed to blend in with the crowd. Police are also confident they have good video footage of the person they believe to be the shooter.
We were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood.
The FBI also found what they believe is the murder weapon, a high-powered bolt-action rifle.
That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis.
There is heartbreak and fury over escalating political violence in this country. The president lashing out last night.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis.
And this morning, marking 24 years after the September 11th terror attacks, the president remembering the young father and husband, awarding Kirk with the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people.
The FBI is offering a reward of $100,000 for any information that will lead to the arrest of Charlie Kirk's killer. Joy Malbon, CTV News, Washington.
Coming up, Declan's medals. Adam finds out the story behind a small athlete celebrating a very big win. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off.
I'm Al Farabi. It's the Great Grocery Giveaway. ATs, how would you like to win a $2,000 smile card from Thrifty Foods? Today's code word is hummus. Text the code word to 71010 for your chance to win.
Finally, Adam finds out how a boy from the Cowichan Valley became a contender on the world stage on tonight's Best of Sawatsky Sign-Off.
Although she had no doubt her baby was perfect, Tammy Isaacson did have questions about how it would be for her baby to grow up with dwarfism.
He's living in a world not quite built for him.
But Declan Forcier calmed his mom's concerns at an early age, thanks to his innate confidence.
There was no hesitation to try anything new.
Like when he wanted to learn how to play baseball, Declan started practicing with his friends and eventually helped his team win big.
Fun and exciting.
The same sort of feelings, Declan says, when he proves that average height hockey players can't stop him from scoring on the ice.
To be able to see him fit in and excel exceeded any expectations or thoughts that I had about the future.
But Tammy never imagined that Declan's athletic abilities would eventually qualify him for Team Canada to compete at the World Dwarf Games.
When I did hear about it, I wanted to go.
But Declan faced a major challenge.
There was no hockey or baseball in the World Dwarf Games.
The 11-year-old wouldn't be able to do what he was best at. And because he was the only athlete from BC, wouldn't be able to train with his 46 other teammates, mostly from Central Canada, before competing on the world stage. leaving him feeling
nervous.
But Declan being Declan, also feeling
excited.
And by the time he met all the athletes in Germany, Tammy says her boy was feeling beyond excited.
And not be the minority, it's just such a great feeling for him.
Declan tackled a series of solo track and field events before playing a trio of team sports where he was face to face with his fellow athletes for the first time.
Competing at eye level was just awesome.
But nothing compared to placing on the podium, winning 7 medals, including 4 gold, for track.
He's a world champion, and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around.
Well, Declan says he's proud of his accomplishments and hoping to compete at the World Dwarf Games in Australia in 4 years. He humbly says there's nothing stopping any of us from achieving our goals if we just get out there and do it.
Play hard and compete.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Duncan.
That is it for CTV News Vancouver Island. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night. Today on CTV News, deadly shooting.
Any kind of violence is tragic and crazy and wow.
It always concerns me when there's something like that happen.
A brazen murder in the parking lot of a busy Burnaby business complex. Minutes later, a vehicle goes up in flames in a residential neighborhood. Also tonight.
This country is open for business. We're moving, we're building big projects for Canadians.
The feds fast-track big projects deemed to be in the national interest. What's on the list for BC? And
around a month ago, me and the wife, we decided to move to Canada.
From across the pond to West Kelowna, why a UK doctor and his wife decided to move to BC and how their story is inspiring others.
This is CTV News with Nafisa Kareem.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. A 34-year-old man appears to be the latest victim in the ongoing gang conflict plaguing Metro Vancouver. He was killed in a hail of bullets in a very public place in Burnaby. CTV's St. John Alexander now with the latest on the investigation.
All the evidence points to a targeted hit, a public execution in broad daylight. And by all accounts, the victim saw the shooters coming.
The information we currently have is Mr. Abis was in the parking lot and he was chased through the parking lot. Where frontline officers located him was on the ground near a grassy area.
When police arrived at the McDonald's parking lot off Willingdon Avenue, 34-year-old Shahib Abbasi was already dead. They've dealt with him before and are confident this was deliberate.
It's obviously clear that those responsible for this shooting had absolutely no regard for public safety or the community.
Because the victim was taken down around dinner time when the area was filled with bystanders, there are bound to be a lot of witnesses.
Any kind of violence is tragic and crazy and wow.
It always concerns me when there's something like that happen.
And that's why we are asking and urging anybody that has information on this homicide or anybody that was in the area that might have witnessed it to contact IHIT.
And as we've seen over and over with gang activity, 15 minutes after the shooting, a torched car was found nearby, likely used in the attack. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Burnaby.
Meanwhile, police are trying to determine whether that homicide is linked to the fatal shooting of a man inside a taxi in Langley over the weekend. The victim has been identified as 24-year-old Taryn Pander. Homicide investigators say Pander was known to police and believe his murder is connected to BC's gang conflict. He was shot around 200 Street and 53rd Avenue late Friday. Anyone who recorded dash cam video in the area that night between 9 and 11 p.m. is asked to call police. The man accused of carrying out a triple stabbing at a festival in Chinatown 2 years ago was back on the stand today, with a Crown prosecutor probing his thought process in the build-up to the attack. Blair Donnelly was on an unescorted day pass from a psychiatric hospital at the time. CTV's Martin McMahon has more from BC Supreme Court.
Blair Donnelly has admitted he was the one who carried out this triple stabbing. And Crown prosecutor Mark Meyer has insisted that Donnelly arrived at the decision to do that independently. But Donnelly has pushed back throughout these proceedings, saying he was guided by God, saying at one point, I was just on automatic. It just seemed like everything I did, I was being led to do it. But the Crown has been pushing back on the argument that Donnelly felt he was instructed by God, suggesting to him one by one that each decision he made that day was his own. Donnelly often pausing for extended periods before agreeing. One of those was the decision to buy a chisel. Donnelly says that the chisel allowed him to hurt people, as he believed God wanted him to do, without actually killing anybody. In one exchange, the prosecutor suggested to him he wasn't guided by the Holy Spirit. After an extended pause, Donnelly said, "Perhaps not. Perhaps so. I don't know." He now says he misinterpreted signs and feels as if God didn't want him to carry out the attack. Donnelly has a history of violence, most notably stabbing his 16-year-old daughter to death in 2006, for which he was found not criminally responsible. Next week, a doctor will take the stand and discuss Donnelly's most recent psychological assessment, a key consideration as we wait to see if Donnelly will be found criminally responsible in this case. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
The feds have announced a round of major projects aimed at reducing Canada's economic reliance on the United States. 2 of them are in BC. They involve expanding LNG and a critical minerals mine. And while the Prime Minister says the projects are in the national interest, environmental and Indigenous voices are calling him out. CTV's Rob Buffum reports.
Doubling production at the LNG Canada plant in Kitimat is one of the 5 major projects unveiled by Ottawa Thursday, getting fast-tracked approvals and potentially federal funding.
To get nation-building projects built faster.
Another BC project on the list, expansion of the Red Chris Critical Minerals Project in Northwest BC.
British Columbia is going to be the engine of the new Canadian economy that we're building that's more independent, that is delivering to global markets.
The batch includes modular reactors at Ontario's existing Darlington nuclear generating station, expansion by the Port of Montreal, and a critical mineral mine in Saskatchewan. Not making the grade, yet at least an oil pipeline through BC, something Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has campaigned for. Thursday, she sounded an optimistic tone.
I thought finally they get it, because it's all the projects that have been difficult to build.
Smith, heartened that a Pathways Plus carbon capture project seen as a prerequisite for a new pipeline is on a secondary list, buoying her hopes that a pipeline could be coming too.
Just encourage Albertans to not lose faith in the process. Let's work together on it.
But not everyone's happy. Doubling production of LNG in Kitimat comes with inadequate Indigenous consultation, says the head of the Union of BC Indian Chiefs.
There was absolutely no effort at any substantive consultation with the First Nations people before these projects were contemplated, planned, and initiated.
Another set of major projects will get the thumbs up by Ottawa in time for Grey Cup in November. BC hopes to add hydroelectric transmission lines to Yukon and Alberta in that round.
Rob joins us live now from Victoria. Rob, how many more projects are expected to get Ottawa's approval for fast-tracking?
That's a good question, Afi. So we know the next round that's set for just before Grey Cup, there's a bunch of items that have already been identified, including possibly a high-speed train connecting Montreal and Toronto that would go 300 kilometers an hour. And Mark Carney did say today, and then the next round would be in time for the Stanley Cup and then the World Cup. And while I think he was joking in terms of those specific timelines, the intent was clear that there will be multiple further rounds, which certainly does tend to favor the possibility of a pipeline increasing. Nafisa.
Rob, thank you. A couple of days ago, we did a story about a condo owner whose tenant put the unit up on Airbnb. Well, now the emails are flooding in from viewers with similar stories. That's coming up, but first. Solemn ceremony, a cross-border memorial for the lives lost on 9/11. A CTV News at 5 continues. A ceremony was held at Peace Arch Park this morning to mark the 24th anniversary of the September 11th terror attacks. Dignitaries and first responders from both sides of the border gathered to pay tribute to the nearly 3,000 victims, including 24 Canadians. The ceremony followed the annual 9/11 Memorial Ride organized by motorcyclists in Metro Vancouver. Two Vancouver City Councillors want answers from Airbnb. It comes after our exclusive reporting on multiple condo owners whose long-term tenants illegally listed the units on the short-term rental platform. And today, the Premier is also weighing in. CTV's Shannon Patterson has more.
Hossein Tavakoli was the first Vancouver condo owner to tell CTV News his long-term tenant illegally listed the unit on Airbnb.
I didn't find the listing myself. I got it from one of the guests.
Then Sylvie Kim reached out saying the same thing happened to her.
I was thinking, oh my God, this might be an organizational crime.
I think amazing work by CTV News uncovering this and really growing this story, because I think as we're hearing from folks who are experiencing the same thing, it's clearly a wider spread problem.
It's shocking, really. I was really stunned to see the coverage from CTV around these two cases and understand that there are more. So clearly, there's some loopholes that need to be tightened up here.
In both cases, the condo owners say Airbnb wouldn't remove the fraudulent listings, telling them to take it up with the host, who was a stranger, not their tenant.
I'm quite disappointed to learn through your reporting that Airbnb, in fact, is not taking down these listings, and it's up to the actual property owner to go in and enforce the rules that Airbnb is supposed to be compliant with. So that is something that I'll be looking into.
Not knowing who is living in your property and having a series of guests when you are, thinking that you're renting to a tenant for the long term is very concerning. So I am going to be following up with Airbnb directly, as well as our city manager.
Airbnb hosts are supposed to provide a municipal and provincial registration number. In the listing for Tavakoli's unit, the fake host claimed the condo was exempt.
It would be nice if our partners at Airbnb were being a little bit more forthcoming in ensuring that folks did have an accurate and up-to-date business license, that they weren't fudging it with an exempt status that doesn't exist.
We're in a multi-phase process with short-term rental companies around regulation in the province. We have some opportunities for additional work to do with Airbnb in relation to compliance.
When these two condo owners discovered their units were being illegally rented on Airbnb, their so-called tenants disappeared, leaving them to clean up the damage left behind by guests. Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Now to the latest in the court case involving the suspect in the Lapu Lapu festival killing. The provincial court judge hearing the case has turned down an application from CTV News and other media outlets to lift a publication ban on the suspect's mental fitness hearing. CTV's Ben Nesbitt was in court today and joins us live. Ben, what more can you tell us?
Nafisa, Justice Reg Harris says he certainly appreciates the open court principle, but said, and he's bothered by the fact that the details from this hearing are going to be withheld from the public for now, at least. But he said in the end, to protect the overall fairness of the accused, to give him the right to a fair trial in a highly publicized matter, he felt that he had to uphold this ban. At the conclusion of the hearing yesterday, Harris ruled that Kaiji Adam Lowe was fit to stand trial on 11 counts of second-degree murder and 31 counts of attempted murder. The ban includes the observations of two forensic psychologists regarding Lowe's mental state and the name of the secure mental health facility where he's been held without bail since the vehicle ramming attack in April.
I think His Honor struggled with the decision, but ultimately, in his balancing, his understanding of what a fair trial ought to look like here meant that today we're not talking about what transpired at the fitness hearing. And it's disappointing for the media, and I think it's going to be disappointing to some members of the community.
Authorities say Lowe was under the care of a Vancouver Coastal Health team at the time of the attack. He was subject to conditions under BC's Mental Health Act, but was still living freely in the community. Now, today, Lowe appeared from that undisclosed mental health facility by video. He sat quietly as Harris laid out his decision. It's unclear yet if he'll be tried by a judge or a jury, because that trial will likely not begin until 2027 at the earliest. He's scheduled to be back in court on October 30th. Nafisa.
Thank you, Ben. After the break, Anne's got a very pleasant forecast. Plus, from the UK to BC.
I felt unwanted, unsafe, not needed.
A doctor and his wife, who is an occupational therapist, uproot their lives and move to Kelowna, sharing their story on social media. We'll show you how their big move is getting a lot of attention. Some Thursday sunshine captured by our camera on top of Grouse Mountain. Around here, though, Anne, we don't call it Thursday, we call it Friday Eve.
Exactly, and it's looking pretty good as we head into the weekend as well. So here's what we can expect. Taking a look at our satellite right now, we do have a low offshore with that frontal system pushing its way in, bringing in some wet weather for the north coast as well as the central coast, bringing in some light rain as well for the tip of Vancouver Island. As you can see on our storm tracker, it will be a soggy start for your early morning commute, and then slowly you will taper off into showers for the north coast and central coast, with cloud increasing for the south coast. For the southern interior, blue skies and sunshine once again from Kamloops right down to Osoyoos. Temperatures between 26 and 28 degrees. A chance of afternoon thunder showers for Cranbrook with a high of 26 degrees. Smoky skies for Quesnel and Williams Lake with highs to 23. Periods of rain along the coast for Bella Coola. You'll see a high of 17 degrees. Cloudy for Haida Gwaii and Masset. You'll see showers for Prince Rupert and Smithers. Periods of rain for Terrace. A mix of sun and cloud for the northeast corner of the province. For the North Island, showers as mentioned. Cloudy skies as well for Port Hardy. 18 degrees. You'll see mostly cloudy skies. A few sunny breaks in there for Campbell River and Comox with a high of 21. For the South Island, sunny breaks for Tofino, Port Alberni and Victoria. Nanaimo and the Southern Gulf Islands, you'll enjoy a mix of sun and cloud with temperatures between 19 and 21 degrees. A few scattered showers and 20 degrees for the Sunshine Coast. Clearer up the Sea to Sky Highway, Whistler and Squamish, you'll see a mix of sun and cloud with temperatures between 21 and 22 degrees. And for us across the Lower Mainland, starting off cloudy once again, clears up nicely with temperatures between 21 and 22 degrees. Heading into Saturday, we'll kick off the weekend with 21 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. Showers return Sunday afternoon. Slight chance into early Monday morning, clearing up and 20 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud with mostly sunny skies and 22s on Tuesday.
I called it a pleasant forecast.
And it is.
All right. Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
As BC continues its push to recruit American doctors, a family physician from the UK has made the move to Kelowna. He and his wife have been documenting their journey on social media. But as CTV's Michelle Bernoro reports, not all the attention has been positive.
Meet West Kelowna's newest family doctor.
His name is Dr. Saad Khan, and he and his wife Samantha recently traded this view in the UK for this one in Kelowna.
BC is kind of what you think about when you think of Canada. You think of the trees and the mountains and the lakes, and they're all right outside your window.
But it's not just the views or the great outdoors that have impressed them.
Every single person that we have met from the second we got off the plane have welcomed us.
Dr. Khan saw an ad on social media about the search for doctors in Canada and already had a Kelowna connection.
I had a colleague who used to work with me in the UK, and he moved to Canada, to BC, and luckily we're colleagues again.
In March, the province launched a recruitment campaign targeting U.S. doctors.
Our government's commitment is to continue to strengthen the healthcare system here in BC.
Dr. Khan says he's aware of the difficulties physicians here face, but still believes BC offers a better life than the UK.
I've been here 2 months now, and I'm responsible for almost 300 patients now. It's unfortunately quite bad, even worse back home.
Samantha, an occupational therapist, also hopes to find a job here when she gets through all the required assessment exams. Beyond workloads, the couple has other reasons for leaving the UK, one financial, the other more personal.
They don't want people of my skin color to come and stay. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. If you're brown, then somehow or the other you're locked in with all the illegal immigration that everyone keeps talking about.
When he posted about this on social media, the couple was shocked at the response from people back in the UK.
I had to take a minute to pause with the amount of vitriol that was being thrown on that video.
Meanwhile, the couple is enjoying new experiences in BC.
We've had poutine for the first time. That was really good.
Soaking in the last of summer, even as they're warned about winter.
According to Google, Kelowna's winters are not that bad. That being said, we'll find out in a few months.
Michelle Bernoro, CTV News, Vancouver.
After the break, is AI a useful tool or a threat? How Canadians' opinions are shifting. Plus,
I was at a BC Lions game, and I had a Labatt's t-shirt on, and the cameraman zoomed in on me and put me up on the Jumbotron.
It's how she was discovered. Now the BC Lions are going to pay tribute to Pamela Anderson. We'll show you a very special contest before tomorrow's big game. Details when we return. Many have compared the recent rise of artificial intelligence to the internet boom in the 90s or the invention of the smartphone. While it is considered a breakthrough technology, many Canadians want to pump the brakes on how quickly AI is advancing. CTV's Kevin Chirac explains.
From tutoring students in elementary school to performing life-saving surgery, artificial intelligence is emerging virtually everywhere. But a new survey shows many Canadians would prefer to slow down its rapid progress.
The reality is we have a 4-point increase, now reaching 50% of Canadians who believe that AI is a threat.
That's up from a survey conducted 2 years ago, with data showing most skepticism coming from seniors.
It's the over 55 generation that is more likely to be worried about AI, essentially making things harder for humanity.
The survey also shows nearly 80% are concerned with AI's threat to jobs and its dumbing down of education. And just over 70% even worry AI can threaten human life.
People, I think, have a right to be concerned about where it's going.
Alan Mackworth has spent decades working in AI.
This is one of the world's first robot soccer players.
Creating ball-kicking robots in the 90s. He says AI's impact on jobs needs to be addressed, along with how it's being used in online scams.
We have to be concerned about maintaining human autonomy and human dignity as robotics and AI become increasingly prevalent. So there's a clear need for regulation.
But he says the rewards of AI are too great to ignore, calling for a more balanced approach.
I would say I'm cautiously optimistic, but very wary of some of the rogue uses of AI that have to be curtailed. But I think there's enormous potential for good, especially in healthcare.
Most people gravitate towards, let's handle this slowly, figure out a way in which we can make this better for humanity without jeopardizing existing jobs.
Less than 40% polled said they trust government to manage AI. Kevin Chirac, CTV News.
Millions of Canadians will take part in the Terry Fox Run on Sunday in support of cancer research. Terry's niece, Kristen Fox, joins CTV Morning Live to talk about it.
It's humbling as well being part of the family that so many people believe in what Terry started, and it's because of the volunteers, the donors, the fundraisers who really believe in that and want to help Terry finish it, help him find a cure for cancer.
More than 10,000 schools across Canada are taking part in the run on Sunday. And you probably know this story. Pamela Anderson got famous by attending a BC Lions game in 1989 when she was put up on the big screen. The crowd went wild. Well, now the Lions are paying tribute to her with a look-alike contest.
Well, that's the great thing about Pamela Anderson. There's so many generations of Pamela. It really spans the generations. We've got the young, discovered at BC Place. We've got the, bombshell years. We've got the new version of Pamela. I want to see every single version of Pamela out there.
Well, that contest will be held at Terry Fox Plaza before tomorrow's game against the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Very cool. Hope she comes to the game.
That would be amazing if she did.
With Liam Neeson in tow, right? Why not? All right, our scenic snapshot, a beautiful rainbow in Quesnel. Thanks, Larry, for sending this one in. And you can email us your scenic snapshot at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great evening. Right now, here is CTV National News.